Okay, let's get going. Good evening once again, and I'm excited to be on the session on that of simplifying mobile app marketing. And here we go with a quick introduction. As Mayank said, I come with an industry experience of close to 15 years, out of which first 3 years was into sales, and the next 12 years is into marketing. And within the next 12 years into marketing, I've handled IT marketing, I've handled B2B marketing, I've handled B2C marketing, as well as I've handled FMCG marketing. So, and my B2B and B2C campaigns were more of an integrated marketing campaigns in nature, while they covered markets like India, Singapore, Africa, Middle East, to begin with, and successfully I've seen a couple of market traction, and we have seen good traction for both B2B and B2C campaigns. And as an effect of that, we have got very good inroads into getting a user traction across different audience, be it the CIO audience or the CT audience or the line of business users, or actually end users like me and you, people like me and you. And a quick introduction about myself. So I worked with companies like IBM in the past. I worked for IBM for about 5 years and have handled B2B marketing for India and Sri Lanka. And currently I work with Cheli DNA, which is an Indian-based company. And some other things. I'm a biker. This is my picture from the recent Ladakh trip that I had been. I'm a biker. I practice yoga. I do meditation, and I have 2 beautiful kids. So that's a quick introduction. And I thought, let me just speak about it and then proceed with the webinar. So a quick overview on what is there in today's session. We're going to cover the growth of mobile apps and what has been the usage trend. I'm going to share a couple of data points which is across the globe, as well as from data points which is in India per se. Then we move ahead to what are the challenges that we see as digital marketers in handling mobile app marketing. That is the next topic. Then we're going to see how do we really start a mobile app marketing plan, and what are the different user journeys that we get. And what is the user journey, and as a marketer, what should be our focus in catching on to the growth of a mobile app marketing, and what are the drivers that really ensures mobile app really grows as per your expectation. The next topic will be in terms of how exactly do we get into marketing the app. What do we do before launching the app, say 60 to 90 days before the app, launch of the app, and what do we do during the launch of the app, and what do we do post the launch of the app. And then we are going to see while we have constructed the mobile app campaign, and while we have really planned at the pre-launch phase, we invest a lot of money in doing app marketing, and we get traction. And post-launch, what are the different metrics that we need to keep in mind? Because end of the day, a marketing budget, as a marketer, when you get a budget, you are also answerable for what is the ROI that we bring to the table, and what are the important metrics that we need to keep in mind specifically for mobile app marketing. For example, in digital marketing, we all know a couple of metrics in terms of what has been the number of visitors that come to a website. I mean, what is the bounce rate, or what is the average session that is being spent on the web page? What are the page views that we get, and what are the leads that we get out of an inbound marketing campaign through digital? So these are the typical metrics that we all are used to hearing to, and we see that in day-to-day digital marketing campaigns. But specifically for mobile app, there are definitely different marketing metrics, and towards the end of the presentation, I'm going to cover what are the different metrics that we need to keep in mind while we are building a mobile app marketing campaign within our company's marketing objective. Okay, so this is a quick session. This is the agenda. We are going to capture these five points, and I'm left with another 30 to 40 minutes to handle the session. If you have any doubts, feel free to leave your question in the chat window. At an appropriate time, I will take up the question. And my one request to you will be, if I happen to miss any question, because if I'm concentrating on the slides, I request you to read out the question at the end. I will be more than happy to answer that question.
Sure, Vivek. Sure.
Okay, let's get started. So we all know, right? Mobile app has been an ubiquitous, mobile is an ubiquitous device. We carry, right from the time we wake up in the morning and right till the time we go to bed, we use mobile app on different instances, be it functional use, be it habitual use, be it peer pressure and things like that. So now when I say mobile is an ubiquitous device, the mobile app within a mobile device is definitely ever pervasive. Let's take a view of the last at least 5 years. How we have progressed. What are the different things that we got introduced to when it comes to mobile apps? I mean, I distinctly remember it was we had Yahoo as one email ID, we had Gmail as one email ID, and we used to log into browser and then log into this email accounts. But today, many of us carry Gmail app and Email ID app and Yahoo app on our mobile. So what really introduced us to the apps is, for example, if you're in office and if you want to make a conference call and share your screen, the web conferencing most famous screen was either Cisco WebEx or it was Skype conference call. All those days we used to start. It was all driven with a web first approach. When I say web first approach, it was always a web app. But now things have really changed, and we all got introduced to the app. The moment we got an app, if unless it is really needed that you need to be tied down to an office desk, you don't end up using a web app or a laptop to do a presentation or to access your Gmail account or Yahoo or Skype or Nokia account. All these solutions are now available on an app, and that's what we have it on our mobile devices. So we got introduced to apps with these kind of. I might be missing few of them, I know, but the top of mind recall that I could get when I say, okay, what are the different apps that I started using first is these things. Then what did really drive the app market? I mean, at least for India per se, global, yes, but at least India per se, we all got hooked to the apps by very famous social apps, right? I mean, we all started using Facebook app, Instagram, Ghana, Cricinfo, and things like that. So these are the different apps that really got us hooked to the mobile device. And this is where, when we got introduced to a few apps, we got hooked to a few apps by using a couple of different apps, be it for social networking or be it for official use. Then what did happen in the last at least 24 months? We see that repeatedly we end up using apps. I mean, I think for me per se, I can't have a day without, at least for even on a Saturday, Sunday, we can't live without an app, which is more like Ola or Uber, because we try to avoid traffic. We need Swiggy, definitely. I mean, post dinner after 10:30, if you feel like eating something, you definitely wouldn't want to go out. You definitely will open Swiggy or Zomato and order your food, right? Or a dessert or something like this. So then shopping, yes, big time. The apps got introduced, a lot of offers got introduced, and these are the different brands that really ended up making us use the app more and more. As a brand marketer, as an app marketer, when I say repeated use of the apps, that is an extremely important component, because end of the day, you might get 100 people to install the app. You might get 20 people to sign up for the app. But what you need to really keep in mind is it all the 20 people getting converted to using the app repeatedly, or are they going to use it once in a month, or are they going to use it once in 3 months, or are they going to delete your app? As a brand marketer, as a digital marketer, and as a mobile marketer, your success story or your sweet spot is in seeing more number of app users coming back to the app and then using it repeatedly, because that is one very important parameter to have in terms of repeat app usage. I'm going to cover these points in the next few slides, but I felt I should be giving this introduction because we all relate to this, right? And what really we started seeing that the journey of a customer usually is nowadays starts with an app and ends with an app. 3 months ago, I mean, while I was supposed to go out of town for about a week, and then I realized that just 2 days before my car insurance had expired. So no point in contacting the customer care center. Then they say you need to get somebody to come and visit it and all those things. They immediately give me a very quick solution. I just downloaded the insurance providers app from app stores. I scanned my car documents. I took photograph of my car from 8 different directions. I uploaded the photographs and the documents all from the app, and my policy got generated in the next 24 hours. Before I took the flight, my car insurance was already done because my wife was using the car. So that is the depth of an app usage today. I mean, I was really impressed with the kind of service that they gave, and the customer journey begins and ends with an app. I mean, how many of us have really seen that we consume a lot of content, either we consume a lot of services, which begins with an app and and it also ends with an app. Nowadays, I mean, we have seen, right? I mean, we can fix an appointment with a doctor using an app. I mean, we have seen In corporate offices, we have seen we need to upload IT documents. No, we need to, of course, upload IT documents on a web portal. But when you want to see your salary statement, when you want to see your IT computation, or you want to see something else, there is always a mobile app for you that the same HR consultant or the company would have given you. So you can even log in through a mobile app and then see your income tax computation or your Form 26A or something like this if it is integrated on your app. Then I initially worked on retail laundry services as well when I was beginning my career, and today the same company has closed few of the physical stores because it doesn't make sense to invest in huge rental cost, and they have launched an iOS and an Android app. Now the laundry pickup in India is done by scheduling the pickup of the laundry from their home using an app. I as a user download the app, I register myself, I schedule a laundry pickup of XYZ number of garments. Somebody comes the next day and they picks up the garment, it will get washed, it will get laundered. I get the laundry back in my home, and I end up paying for that through the app. I mean, everything is integrated. I mean, laundry, doctor, and salary statements and things like that. I mean, that is why I want to say mobile app has definitely become ever pervasive, and I think the usage is going to drive more and more. And we as digital marketeers, we as marketing guys, and we as mobile app marketeers, this is a very good, fantastic news for us. Why is it so? I'm going to cover in the next few slides. Let's take a look at what's been trending. Now, globally, this is a global report. If you see the last 3 years trend in terms of 2015, 16, and 17, there is a huge jump in terms of the number of app downloads that has happened. 175 billion app download that has happened in the year 2017. This is a global thing. This includes iOS App Store and Google Play Store, and also third-party app stores data. This is just a view in terms of the number of apps getting downloaded in one particular year. As the downloads go up, we as app marketers, we need to always keep in mind that we need to make it really visible in the app store so that the person really downloads the app, because competition is definitely there. The competing app is already watching us. So how do we make it look really great in an app store? I'm going to capture in the next few slides. The next data is in terms of what are the country-wise view of the mobile app downloads. While we see China is the single largest country where the more number of people are using apps and they're downloading the apps, I think it's good news that India is featuring the second rung and defeating US in the last year in terms of the app downloads, and it is growing at a phenomenal pace. 215% growth in India year on year is a phenomenal phase, and this might be because of your Paytm getting into very contextual messaging. The relevance of Paytm increased, shopping has increased, food delivery has increased, Ola, Uber would have increased. There are many such brands would have really increased, propelled the number of downloads from a particular country. This is one scenario in country-wise comparison. The next slide is in terms of what are the app spends, what are the spends that has happened inside the app stores, and that is estimated to be at an $86 billion in terms of the number of people who are consuming in-app purchases. So the in-app purchases has now touched 86 billion. This is at a global level, and this is also seen a phenomenal growth. So in the last three slides, what we can remember is the number of apps being downloaded has been phenomenally increasing year on year. The time spent by users in this particular app is increasing. The amount spent in in-app purchase is also increasing. So these are the key points that we need to keep in mind when we think about mobile apps, because that is really propelling the growth of mobile apps, and that is going to continue in future unless we see something else which comes to be really innovative. I'm on to the next slide. So before that, so one more point. So when we say the in-app purchases is increasing, there is one very important point that we need to keep in mind is if the in-app purchase is increasing, as the product managers, if you are in future going to lead the mobile app marketing, it's very important for you to work with the product managers and then say, boss, the consumers are spending more money on in-app purchases. So this is the time for you to add more features and do a cross-sell and upsell. I mean, can you do cross-sell and upsell so that you can make him to buy something else and our revenue increases? That is what that we can keep in mind. When this is one more example in this particular slide where we see what is the user engagement. If you see the light blue color line is for total number of apps, and the dark blue is the apps used. I have given a view in terms of the same trend that is happening across different countries. If you see India, which is in the very first thing, there are close to about an user. I mean, this is for iPhone and Android app phone combined. This is from a select markets study done by a leading mobile analytics company based out of the US. And the data reads like this. On an average in India, at least a person has more than 75 apps in his phone, and the number of apps that he's going to use is close to about 40. I mean, look at this. I mean, number of apps he has on a phone and number of apps that he's being repeatedly using. This is a chart that clearly shows number of people, the way they're using the app and the way that they're holding the app. I think this is a very promising story, at least that we see in India per se. Of course, China is leading, as we saw in the previous chart as well. China has more number of people having more number of apps and the usage is as it is. But if you see India, it has less number of apps, but people using the apps is equally good. Likewise, say you see US, you see Japan, which has more that kind of a trend, and this is going to be, this is a very good insight for us, because the measurement for a mobile app marketing guide doesn't stop at okay, mera app download ho gaya. It doesn't mean that the app has been downloaded, but how frequently is the app being used and how frequently is the user getting engaged in the app. I mean, you need to make him to use the app again and again. Only then you can hold him. If not, he's going to exit the app after 30 days. That also I'm going to cover in the next few slides. When we see this kind of data, what is that we need to keep in mind? We need to ride the wave with the following points. Consistent app engagement is there, that is good. We get an option to do cross-sell. When I say I have feature A, but I need to add on feature B, and I can charge say 30 rupees per month for that particular feature. So that's how I do a cross-sell. We drive in-app purchases. So we drive in-app purchases so that month on month we get some stickiness. For example, the way Netflix is doing, month on month we end up purchasing something, and that definitely is going to really work. Higher LTV. When I say LTV, it is lifetime value of a customer. When you have more number of customers who is going to be with you month on month, and they want to consume content, and they're going to use use the content on your app, you end up getting higher lifetime value over a period of say 3 months or 6 months or 1 year. So these are the points that we as marketers need to keep in mind and ride that wave forever. Let me go to the next slide. So we saw some data points for globally, so global market. So let us see a closer look at what is the scenario for India. Okay. There are 3 charts here. So one is app downloads. That is iOS plus Android. We see in the year 2017, the highest number of app downloads coming from Facebook, Messenger, Hotstar, Share It, things like that. If you see the second column, which is monthly active users, this is where you see some changes here, right? For example, Share It is in number 6 position in terms of app downloads, but the same Share It has moved 1 level up. It is in 5th rank in terms of monthly active users. So it's not about getting the app downloads that I was saying. It is about getting the user to get hooked to the particular app and make him use repeatedly, monthly, daily. I mean, achieving daily is fantastic, but not everybody will use a daily app, the same app, unless you are a fitness freak and you end up using your Runkeeper on an everyday basis, including Saturdays and Sundays. So hence, monthly active user is a good metric to have. So if you see a couple of players like Truecaller, which sees monthly active users, which is more. Share It, which has monthly active users, which is more than when they compared to their download status. If Truecaller is in 8th position in the number of downloads on the very first column, you see so the same Truecaller moving to top 4 position in terms of monthly active users in the second column. Let us take a look at the last column, which is in-app spends. So in-app spends, it's very clear in India, Netflix is the top app which has the highest number of in-app spends. That is people consuming content and people buying content using an app and finishing a commercial transaction within an app. Next, I mean, Tinder, we go live, Google Drive. I mean, very surprisingly, this also has started coming up because you get only 15 GB of space, and if you want to add on more space, at the end of year 1, you end up paying at least 100. You end up paying at least 99 or 199 rupees per month, and that's what it is. So I have seen people consuming more space in Google Drive, and they end up purchasing in-app purchase for Google Drive to increase their space, because they can't live without the data, and the data is extremely critical for them. I mean, I think most of these apps are fairly similar for most of us, because I mean, at least if you see the last column, I mean, out of the 10, at least I have used 7, 8 of them. I mean, Ghana, Savan, of course, not many of them end up buying the songs, but if you want to end up buying the song, it's for you. But I mean, most of it, Hotstar, LinkedIn, Netflix, Google Drive, most of us would have used these kind of apps, and not every one of us would have made an online purchase within an app. But yes, these are the apps which is really relevant, and that is driving in-app spends. So this is one scenario in India that I wanted to share. let's move ahead. So while we saw a global trend, while we saw an India-based trend in terms of what has been the app and what is the downloads that has happened, what is the spends that have happened, and what is the engagement that is happening, how many users are using it, how many times they use it is what we just now saw. While we've seen all these things, I mean, is mobile app marketing an already a fixed solution? No, it is yet an untamed beast. I call it as an untamed beast because the way the mobile apps is growing and the way the dynamically the users' behavior is changing and the way the short attention span of users is there on mobile apps. The challenges for marketers is always increasing. Let us see what are the top say 10 challenges that we as marketers we want to see in future or currently in terms of mobile app and how do we tackle them in future. I'm just listing few of the marketing mobile app marketing challenges here. User acquisition, getting the right user. For example, if I'm a person who wants to download an app which is something related to productivity. For example, I want to use an app which is for scanning some documents, or I want to download an app which is more for my office use and things like that. If I end up doing a marketing targeting and positioning for a housewife or for a retired person, that will not get us, though the brand message will go to them. They might end up seeing your ad and they might get excited and they might download, but are they the right users? After 1 week or 10 days, they'll go to delete the app, saying that they are not, they find it to be irrelevant because I mean that is not the right thing. For example, that person might be interested in some other app, and for a business productivity app, a housewife or a college-going kid or a college-going guy might be an irrelevant audience. So acquiring the right audience is the first challenge. That's where, as marketers, we need to arrive at how well do we do the targeting, positioning, and then we acquire the right users using the right digital marketing channel. And when we acquire the users, how are we going to convert the users to actual? I mean, how are we going to convert the people from trying people to an actual user? Because some people end up using the app, but they only try the app and then they end up leaving the app. So this is going to be very costly for us because you, as a marketer, would have already spent XYZ rupees to get the person acquiring an app. Your cost per lead is already incurred. The person comes, he sees the app, he tries the app, and he exits. That case, it is a sunk cost for you because you already paid a particular digital channel, say it is Facebook or or Google USC campaigns and things like that, or display network to get this particular user. But after some days, if the person quits the app, then for you it's a loss. So converting trial users to actual user is also a big challenge. And I think I just touched upon the previous point, keeping the cost at a budget level, because what will happen is when the app download goes down, your marketing spends, if it is remaining same, then it is a simple arithmetic, right? Numerator and denominator. So your cost per download will go up. And we as marketers, we are always measured on our key success metrics. And one of the key success metrics is in terms of how do we reduce the cost per download? We call it as CPL, which is cost per lead, or you call it as CPD, which is cost per download. So we need to keep the cost at the lowest as far as possible. At the awareness building phase, it is fine, but not every company will be willing to invest on a continuous basis to do only awareness campaign, right? Next is optimal media mix to garner new leads or get the lapsed users back. I mean, there are multiple channels today. You can invest in Facebook to do an app install campaign. You can do Google USC campaigns. If most of you would have done digital marketing course, you would have done Google Display Network and search, and you would have handled Facebook app install campaigns in your digital marketing course. So, I mean, we can't rely on a single channel to give us active users or get the acquisition done for users. We need to always optimize the campaign across different media channels. Only then we get to know which is a channel which is giving me a better customer with the lowest cost. For example, if we are getting, I mean, my own example, if I can share, I mean, one of the apps that we were doing for app install campaign, and on Facebook, we used to spend more than 85 rupees to acquire a customer, but in terms of on one of the Google platforms, we used to spend only 26 rupees to acquire a customer. So there is a difference between 86 rupees and 26 rupees, right? So hence you need to know which is the media channel which is giving you the better results, and you need to further optimize that particular channel to reduce your cost per lead. So that's when that's a challenge that you need to always keep in mind to optimize your media mix so that you don't end up overspending. Then putting data to work is hard. I mean, data-driven marketing is what we've always been hearing, right? I mean, as all marketers and digital marketers we know. For example, if you take a typical web marketing, you see you see a couple of data and then say, if you are using Google Analytics, it will tell you from which country are the users coming from and what is the times they are going to spend, what is the bounce rate that you do. So using that kind of a Google Analytics data, you are going to take decisions in terms of whether your call to action is right, whether your landing page needs to be improvised, whether your media spend should go up, whether you're getting the wrong user, right user. All these things can be fixed by seeing the Google Analytics data for web. Similarly, we have a lot of analytical report that we can get for mobile apps, and there are a lot of paid apps available in the market, which will take your data, or Google Firebase as well, which will silently observe the users on the usage pattern on a particular app, and it will keep giving you dashboards in terms of how are the users coming, which channel are they coming from, number of times they've opened your app, which page of your app they have opened, which page of the app they have closed it and they didn't like it and they went back, things like that. So there are a lot of data available. We as digital marketers and mobile app marketers, we should keep in mind that we need to use the right data to take right decisions. Heterogeneous media consumption. So for example, what if you are optimizing a campaign for Facebook while we're targeting say Bangalore, Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, the same kind of Facebook optimization will not work for if you're targeting Malaysia, Singapore, or Thailand. These are the few things that I myself have done that when I was optimizing my campaigns, and that same particular channel or a media vehicle will not give you the same kind of output in that particular country. That is where you need to do. If you have attended Facebook marketing in your digital marketing classes, you will remember that you have in Facebook you can do behavioral targeting and interest-level targeting. So this is where you need to optimize your campaign and then do a particular different campaign or a different optimization for Singapore or Malaysia or Philippines or Thailand. So this is what you need to keep in mind, saying that media consumption is heterogeneous in different markets, and you need to be aware of it. One more challenge that we have is to get consistent mobile engagement. So when I say consistent mobile engagement, it is a point here that how do you ensure that the person has seen your app and not closed it and is a very inactive or a passive user? This is where retargeting and remarketing of mobile apps will come into play, wherein you can send in-app messages, you can send push notifications. For example, if you're an Airtel user, if currently Airtel is running an offer of 3 months free for Netflix subscription for Airtel happy customers, right? So many of us will end up getting in-app notification from Airtel saying that this is an offer which is going on, something like this. Or if you are consuming news on Economic Times or Financial Express, those are the people who will send out some notifications to you saying that this is the news that is being very current live. So these are the mechanisms that we as digital marketers and mobile marketers, we need to use to push the user from a passive usage to an active usage. Of course, doing it too much also will be very irritating. The person might delete your app and then get out of it. But we should do it a little more contextually. We have to do it a little smartly. So that's when I said consistent mobile app engagement will have to be driven in a very smart and a very contextual way, so that it doesn't really annoy the user and he still see that kind of a message being very relevant to him. The last thing that I wanted to put on this chart is in terms of user churn. This is a major challenge that we have. We want to see this. When I say user churn, it is the number of people who are going to exit your app. We want to see some data points in the next few slides. So till now we saw data points, and we have seen what are the challenges that is there in handling mobile app marketing. But do we know where exactly do users find your app? Here is a chart which shows some data points in terms of how are users or consumers discovering your app and where are they downloading your app from. See this. There are different versions, right? Recommendations and reviews in press and online. While I was browsing a tablet or a PC, I saw an app. I saw a Google network advertisement and I clicked on it. I was using some other app, but I saw one more ad within a particular app. These are different options. But the most critical, the topmost source of people finding an app is the very first one, which is from within an app store. So this was a study done by Gartner. Gartner is a global company, which is a research analyst and research firm. And this report that is published by Gartner, and they came back and said the biggest source for people to discover an app is always an app store, be it iOS user on iTunes and Google Play Store for Android users. So if if more number of people, if majority of the people are finding your app on the app store, it means that they are the people, that is the hometown for you as a app marketer. When I say hometown for you, that is the place where you need to make your app beautifully listed. You need to make your app very well written about your app. That is where you need to get people to attract and get them to download an app. So that is a different topic altogether. That is called as App Store optimization, and I'm not going to cover that in today's session, because only that session will need more than 120 minutes of discussion. So that is not being covered. I'm just mentioning that that is one important thing that an app marketer will have to do it in future. So since app stores are the single largest place of app discovery, it is our hometown and it's our homeland to make our app look beautiful there, so that we get marketing success out of it. So till now, this was a background in terms of setting the context, and we have seen what are the different nuances or different dependencies, different challenges, and different requirements that we have on hand to do a mobile app marketing. But the actual journey of mobile app marketing only begins now. So till now, I was trying to give you a background. I was setting the context. I was painting the picture so that you get to know the seriousness of how big is the topic of mobile app marketing. So how do we now do mobile app marketing, and how do I construct my campaign? How do we get going is what I'm going to start from now. And this is where I want to call it as simplifying the art of mobile app marketing. And the next few slides is when I'm going to explain how do you do your mobile app marketing. Now, so there are three phases, right? So during the app, you can do few of the actions. Before the launch of the app, there is a pre-launch actions. And after you launch the app, you have few actions. So pre-launch, for example, at least you will need 90 to 120 days to have a runway to prepare for launching a mobile app. And you need to do a lot of groundwork before the launch of the app. What is that groundwork? I'm going to cover in the next slide. That is pre-launch. During launch, you need to identify the right target group, identify the right go-to-market activities, identify the right marketing channels to take the message to the market. Once you launch the app, what does the you need to do in the post-launch? Look for benchmarks. I mean, how is my app marketing metrics compared to others? For example, if you are marketing mobile app for Swiggy, can you find out how is other mobile apps doing? For example, if you get data, you can compare within the same category, or you can compare other similar kind of apps within India and then see how are we featuring when compared to others. It is competition analysis. Then you need to continuously optimize your campaign so that people your campaign is effective and you keep a tab on your app metrics. So this is all a post-launch. Whatever you're going to get the learnings in post-launch, you are going to put it back in during the launch, and you're going to. It is a circle between you launched, you learned something, you took the learnings, you optimized, you came back and again did it, and then again propelling the usage. So this is what a simple three-step process. We want to start with what is that you need to do in a pre-launch phase. In a pre-launch phase, on the left-hand side, I've given you 5 questions that you need to ask. In a pre-launch phase, can you ask yourself, who is my target audience? How will my app reach them? How do I create a buzz to get my app in front of their eyes? What is the content that I need to have? I mean, the content here might be a nice banner on Facebook. It might be a nice banner on LinkedIn or on Google Ad Networks. So it can be the same thing. And when I'm before the launch itself, I should be able to think about what is my success metrics. For example, in week 1, week 15, week 2, and month 1 and month 2, what is the number of downloads or app users that I want? So that is also what you need to keep. You need to keep asking at least these 5 questions before you launch the app. And how do you do the pre-launch of the app? You identify the target audience. I mean, it can be, you can do a demographic or a psychographic definition of your target audience. We all know as marketers what is demographic and psychographic definition of users. Then we need to sit with the product marketing team or the product team and define the value prop. Okay, my app stands for this. For example, no need to search for an auto standing in the middle of the road. I can book a cab sitting in my office room. I mean, this is one thought that comes to my mind. So how do you define this as a value prop so that the lead message can go to the users? You define the value prop, then you create your monthly activity calendar, GTMS, go-to-market activity calendar. Okay, month 1, I do this, month 2, I do this, month 3, I do this. So you need to have at least 3 months clear go-to-market activity calendar. This is pre-launch, and before the launch, you need to create some hype and you need to create some news about it, right? So you will invite, you will go and talk to some influencers, you'll go and talk to some PR people, and let's say, look, my app is going to get released in the next 90 days. I can give you a quick snapshot of what my app is all about. So you can prime the audience so that they end up, you build the curiosity among influencers. You create some viral marketing campaigns beforehand so that you do a big bang launch, and that will already set the stage for a nice launch. That is what you can do with influencers and PR team, online PR bloggers, app reviewers, and things like that. Next is, you definitely need to have a great product demo or a video of the app, because that is going to be useful. You can use that particular, the way the app functions on your website, you can use it within your app, or you can also put that video on mobile app store, because the person who goes to an app store, when he sees a video, he'll click and he'll see for 30 seconds. So instead of the person only seeing the screens and reading boring text, you can see a video and understand what this app is going to do. So that's what you can add a video in the app store, so that very quickly in 30 seconds, people get to know what is this app all about. Then the most important point number 6 is, you need to have a very good UI UX, which is user interface and user experience. The app should not be cluttered with too many screens. Click here, click there, go back. It should not be confusing. So this is where the product managers will work with you and make a nice UI UX. Develop the content for 3 months activity. You need to have videos, banners, testimonials, reviews, cheat sheets, kind of things. There are different contents you need to have, so that you use those content and drive, do a lot of content marketing. I did not get into content marketing. You all know about it. So you need to have at least 3 months of ready to use content with you. Then the most important page is, if your app will definitely have landing page. The landing page can be your website, and you need to have a very clear CTA, which is a call to action. Because the landing page will have to speak about what the app benefit is, what are the different features, and quickly get them to download the app. If they are downloading, if they are coming to your website and from there they are going to App Store to download the app. Or sometimes if they directly go to a mobile app store, then you need to do an optimization of the mobile app store. Like the way you do optimization for SEO in terms of your website, you also need to do optimization for your Android store pages and iOS store pages. It can be text and visuals. You want to see it in the next few slides. These are the important elements in the pre-launch phase. When it comes to launch phase, what are the things that you need to really watch out for? You need to watch out for, what is the number of organic installs you're getting? When I say organic installs, I mean, you already launched the app, but because of a paid activity, it will also have a positive rub-off in terms of, you get the download, but it is not attributed to any of the particular media channels. So it's an app download that has happened free of cost, and you're not going to pay for that. So you can keep a watch out on what is the number of app installs that is growing up. What has been the app user's journey? I mean, are people finding it easy to use the app? What is the cost per acquisition? You need to keep an eye on. I mean, are you spending too much for your app? Because you would have estimated, okay, I need 50 rupees to get a person to download the app. But when you do the launch, you end up seeing now end of 1 week or end of 1 month, you'll end up seeing, okay, the cost per downloading app by one person is going to 150 rupees. So in that case, your budget will go down very, very quickly. You'll end up exhausting your budget very quickly because your cost of download has gone up very quickly. So you also need to keep an watch on number of people who got into the app and number of people who exited the app. So you need to keep in mind the app churn as well. So the top 5 things that you need to watch out for are given in the gray section on the right hand side. Now, in order to do this, how do you really do the app launch? I mean, you do the campaign account setup like the way you do your ad account setup on Google and Facebook and LinkedIn. So you do an account setup on your digital and social channels. You do a campaign media buy with your media spends. Then you do app attribution tracking elements. I'm not going to cover in detail of app attribution because that itself will take 1 more hour of discussion. App attribution is, for example, in summary, I'll tell you, if you are covering, you're doing app marketing through Google Display Network, then you're going to do app marketing through mobile app publishing network, and you're going to do app marketing through, say, Facebook. And end of the week, end of the day, you got, say, 100 app downloads. You need to be very clear about 100 app downloads came from Facebook or from Google or Display or from Google Publisher Network. Only then you know, okay, my money that I spent, for example, I spent 100 rupees in Facebook, but I got only 10 app downloads. But the same 100 rupees that I spent in Google Display Network, I got 85 downloads. So you know that Google Display Network is working fine for you and Facebook is not working fine for you. So that is what an app attribution it will always give you. That data you will not get in your backend report. That data will be given by third party app integration attribution platforms like AppsFlyer, AppKochava, and the Tune and Fuse kind of. There are different app attribution platforms that you can see online. You will get to know. So there are app attribution companies who will do attribution of where the different users are coming, and that will tell you, that will give you a very good insight in terms of where to spend, where not to spend, or way to increase the spend. These are the very important points. Only then you know, because you should not be blinded, right? I mean, my app is coming from this particular channel, and I know I'm going to invest there. If the particular channel or a particular media thing is publisher is not giving you enough downloads, then no point in spending money because it's going to be waste of money. That is on app attribution tracking elements. The fifth one is GTM activity calendar. I mean, I think this I had covered in the previous points. I'm going to skip it here. The fifth point here is in campaign reporting, KPIs, that is key performance indicators. So you need to keep an eye on your KPIs. I'm going to cover in the next slide what is a KPI for campaign reporting. It is there are multiple KPIs that I'm going to cover in the next few slides. Then, because you're doing an app launch, you can do a lot of contests, giveaways, and bug bounties. Because when you do a lot of contests, it will become viral. People end up using your app and they see a benefit and they might share it with their friends. So you'll get referrals. You spend one. I mean, for example, you spend 50 rupees to acquire one user. If I have used the app and I felt it nice, I shared with 3 of my colleagues, and then you got 2 downloads free of cost without spending any money. So this is how, if you remember, Uber used to do the same thing, wherein I used to download an app and I share it with somebody else. If the guy uses it, he'll get a free ride, right? That's how Uber app really did well in terms of giveaways and referrals, and they really got more users using the app by giving giveaways and referrals. Of course, it all depends on the amount of budget that you have for your discounts and promotions, but these are the things that you need to do while you are going to do the launch of the app. Then the 8th point here is user engagement reviews and store analytics. So store analytics is very important, that I was saying, like the way you have Google Analytics for web marketing, you have a lot of analytical tools available in the market where it will give you a lot of analytical insights, data for the way users are behaving within the app. That is what you need to keep an eye on when you're done the launch, because the first 1 week or the first 15 days, you will get to know a lot of data and how users are doing. And that is going to tell you how users are really engaged on your app. Using that, you can tweak your campaign, you can speed up your campaign, you can modify your campaign. The next step is in terms of post-launch. Okay, I have already I've done the preparation, I did the pre-launch, I've already spent the money, I already launched my app. Now, post-launch, what is that I'm going to do? We need to have a loop of feedback for critical bugs. For example, there are issues where people end up saying, okay, this particular function is not working. So people will not come and tell you, or they'll not write you a mail. What they'll do is they'll directly go to the app store and do a negative review. They'll write a bad review saying that this particular app hangs, or this function I tried doing, it was not going to the next screen at all. So this is where you'll have bugs, and that feedback mechanism is what you need to keep an eye. And you as a marketer will have access to the app store data, and you need to give that data back to the product management team so that they fix it. Then post-launch, you need to see how is your app being ranked on Play Stores. So the ranking can be done. You will see the ranking on the number of traffic that is there, number of keywords that people have used, what keywords people are using to download your app, what keywords people are using to download your competitor app. So these are the essential elements you need to keep in mind post-launch. And then plan for user review and ratings. For example, if you can do a lot of email marketing and then say, hey, we saw you using the app. Why don't you go back to the store and please submit your reviews and ratings. If I'm a happy customer, definitely I'll go back to the store and then give a 3-star or a 4-star rating, and I'll say good app, it works fine, fantastic app, and things like that. You can do an offline campaign just to thank the users, and then you can increase your ratings and reviews. Then you can also see what are the organic installs. When I say organic installs, these are the installs that you're going to get without spending money. So in your backend, you'll get data in terms of what are the number of app installs you got with paid advertising, what are the installs you got without paid advertising. That also, you need to have a lot of analytical tools for that, but that is also one important parameter you need to keep in mind when post the launch of the app. The last 3 points, I think we covered: viral and influencer push, user engagement, and then last point number 8, optimize. Keep seeing the data, get learnings, go on optimizing the campaign so that you fix it. So what is that you want to achieve post-launch? I've given on the left-hand side on the gray panel. Success metrics, I'm going to capture in the future slides. Retargeting, you want to do with in-app notifications. You engage the users with, again, push notifications. You engage the user with retargeting of on through website or through Facebook. Then you optimize the campaign and you see how best you can stop people from exiting the app. So these are the set of things you can do post-launch. Due to paucity of time, I'm going to skip this. This is, you can see it online as well. How an app is going to be seen on an app store. I think most of us would have seen this. If you see the right-hand side, this is the way an app store will look in terms of on a Google Play Store. So you see the video will be in the top. Then you'll see the app name. Then you see the number of downloads it has given. You'll see the app reviews that has got. You see a short description where within 80 characters you have to say what is this app all about, and you also get to see add 8 different screenshots. So this is where, as app marketing guy, you'll have to work with your creative agency to give very nice, good looking app screenshots, so that you can include up to 8 screenshots in Google Play Store, and which can be mobile, tablet, PC driven screenshots, so that a user who comes to the app store, he'll understand your app better by reading or by seeing the visual, and he'll get interested to probably download your app. So we'll proceed. So the last 45 minutes we have seen how do we get going with building app marketing campaign during the launch, before the launch, and post launch. We also saw what are the macro data points in terms of downloads, in terms of people getting engaged on the usage, and people spending money on the app. We saw a couple of India scenario also, right? So having learned how to build a campaign and having seen the different data points, is it all good to go? Is there anything else that you need to really know? Yes, I mean, there are a lot of stuff that you need to know, but if I end up taking the topic, it will take another 90 to 120 minutes to cover that, but we can't afford to have that kind of a session now. But what are the bare minimum things that we need to know? I have captured in the next 2 to 3 slides. Moving on, native ads. I think most of you would have known about native ads. Native ads is one thing that you need to keep in mind, because these are less intrusive, and it is going to look like that you're reading the content within a web page itself. Because if you're consuming content on Money Control, or if you're consuming some news on Economic Times app, in between you see some small banner ads, or which is not a banner ad, but it is a native ad which is already being there inside the app. So what the research data says is 40 to 60% of the user engagement goes up if we end up using native ads than regular banner ads or full screen ads. So there is a different benefit of a native ad. So research says close to 40% of the engagement of a user goes up while using native ads. It will also give you the flexibility of using in a particular country, city. Within a city, you can target an airport, you can target an IT hub, you can target residential area. So that is what you can, I mean, provided if you're using a mobile app publisher, he will give you an option to target through a native ad to only particular set of users. That is one biggest advantage. You can target users on device. For example, you can target only Apple users. You can target only Samsung users or Android users. You can target people who are heavily into tablet or iPhone users. You can do device level targeting. And people also say, the research report also say that close to 20% of your return on ad spend goes up if you're using native ads, because the consumption is better, the engagement is better. It will also help in using day part. For example, you can choose to do native ads only on a Friday and Saturday. You can also choose to do it only during non-working hours between, say, 10 to 4, because no point in showing an app for people who are on riding their bike or driving their cars, right? So you can pick and choose what timing you can use it. While you're also doing this, you can also keep in mind that while you're developing a campaign, if you're doing a multi-country approach, when you end up working with mobile app publishers, you can ask them data in terms of, okay, what is the number of volume of users that you have in a particular country? For example, Middle East says, one of the publishers says, I can get you 10 billion users from Middle East. And if you see what are the unique users, it can be 27 million here. So 10 billion is a total number of users, but unique users will be 27 million. So you can get data in terms of what is the impression that usually drives in these kind of markets. And so you need to be prepared while you are speaking to mobile ad publishers. You can ask them these questions so that you know which publisher has a very good reach in which particular country, because not every publisher will be very good in all the countries. You can pick and choose mobile ad publishers depending on the country that you want to launch the app. When I say publishers, when you do mobile ad campaign with publishers, you will end up seeing the ads coming on these kind of apps. For example, you will see on global apps like Subway Surfers or IMO, or you'll see it on Scrabble, Beach Hive, the Chive kind of channels. If it is local, then we all know, right? Many of us know. Most of us know the Indian apps here, Savan, or Quicker. Say you have Cartrade, MobiQuick, Daily Hunt, Dainik Bhaskar. So this is how your publisher will give you data, and they'll also tell you. In terms of what are the daily average users each of them can give you. DAU stands for daily average users. They'll say, okay, if you see the third one, which is social, travel, and e-commerce and commerce, they'll say I can give you 3 to 5 million users on a daily basis from all these genres. So you can do a targeting only of those apps which are social networking apps, travel apps, e-commerce apps. So you can pick and choose which genre of the app you want to do targeting for. One case study I wanted to show for India, which is for a food delivery app. This was for Android. And one of the usage was with a direct publisher. And the campaign ran for about 30 days. And the number of installs that happened was 53,000 installs in about 30 days. And this is the data. But in terms of orders, close to about 5,750 orders were placed for the food delivery app, and they got close to about $38,000 revenue. So, this is a case study for a food delivery app got their app download, 53,000 app downloads in about 30 days with more than 100% ROI. What is the optimization that they did? Given in blue color font, they increased the budgets on best performing publishers. They did city level optimization so that they target only working executives so that they get more food delivery done, and they used customized creatives. There is one more e-commerce app in China. I want to skip this because we are running short of time. Then I want to quickly get into metrics of measurement. So see this data here. If you see in the left-hand column, I have given what are the different metrics that you need to keep in mind, which is total download count, and what is the number of downloads that happens in month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4, month 5. What is the App Store rank? Because your app ranking changes month on month, so you need to keep an eye on what is the App Store rank looking like, and what is the update. What is the number of monthly active users that you get? What is the retention rate for 30 days? How many people stayed within 30 days? How many people exited within 7 days? I'm going to show one chart in the next slide. If you're into monetization, then you know what is the number of revenue that we got from a particular user in a particular month. What is the ad spend that we did in that particular month? The last three data points is very important. We call it as CPI, which is cost per install, which is nothing but cost per download. Lifetime value of an organic user, lifetime value of an acquired user, which is non-organic users. So end of the month, when you sit with your boss for a review, you'll show the number of downloads that have happened, App Store rank that has happened, number of ratings review that has got, monthly users that you've got, and the number of money, the quantum of money you have spent, and number of what is your cost per acquisition. This is an important metric that you need to keep in mind. The same thing can happen month on month. I'm going to skip this. While we know that there is a very good growth story and mobile app marketing is so nice, but the story is really not that good. I'll tell you why. Just see this slide. Global level app retention. On a day 1, 33% of the people who download the app still have the app. But if you see day 30, only 3% of the people have the app. The same story goes with iOS users. Day 1, 30% of people have your app. Day 30, only 3% of the people have your app. App funnel conversion, at least in India. Let us see this. Let me go back. I think I went a little fast here. So in terms of there are different categories on the right-hand side, the green color chart. If you see the ones marked in red, for example, shopping app, you'll see day 1, 32%, day 7, 40%, day 30, only 6%. If you see lifestyle, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th one, on day 1, you have 28% of the people having it. And there are a couple of questions which is coming. I'll answer that once again. Lifestyle app, 28% on day 1, day 7, 10%, but day 3 only 4%. So you can see people exiting your app as and when the month proceeds, day 1, day 7, day 30. So this is what you need to keep in mind, and then say that, okay, end of the month, I need to have more number of users having the app. This is the last chart for now. See the last data, which is non-gaming for India. If you see install to engage, I mean, for example, just imagine 100 people have installed your non-gaming app. The last bucket you need to see, please. 100 people have installed your app, but number of people who have got engaged in your app. For example, they did a sign up, they opened an app, they use some content in your app. That is, they are engaged. Close to 41% of the people will use your app, is what the data shows for India. When you say 41% of people from install to engage is 41%, but what happens in the next funnel, which is those 41% of the people who have engaged with your app, how many of them went and bought your something from your app is only 4%. When you compare the number of people who installed your app to the number of people who bought something from your app, the percentage further goes down. It is only 1.8%. So the story is not that good. The challenge on app marketing really is there on hand. It's up to us to be innovative in how we engage, how we get the right users, how we engage with the right users, how we retain the right users. That is the challenge of app marketing. There is more to cover in mobile app marketing, but due to paucity of time, I'm stopping here. If in future, if we have a next session, we'll catch up more. And in the meanwhile, if you have any feedback to me, my ID is vivek.suryanarayan@yahoo.com. You can drop a mail to me and pose your questions as well. So let us take the questions, please, Mayank.
Yes, sure. So the first question over here is from Anik. He's asking what are some allied skills that I need with digital marketing to improve my job opportunities?
One second. Allied skills, I mean, for you to improve your job opportunities on digital marketing, I mean, there are instances where you get a chance to specialize within. I mean, one thing could be mobile app marketing. The next thing could be in terms of I mean, a couple of people now take only SEO specialists. So you need to have an allied skill in terms of what are the different metrics that matters for companies, and depending on the industry, which particular industry needs which kind of metrics, and basis that you can specialize. You can pick and choose what are your strengths. For example, you can become only a media buying specialist, you can be a media planning specialist, like the way you can be an SEO specialist, or you can be only a keyword specialist. Because when I was working in IBM, I had one colleague who was a specialist only in PPC. So that was his specialization. So you need to have that kind of allied skill to get to the next level.
Thanks, Vivek. The second question over here that we have is, are there some interested established app designers to collaborate with research institutions to make app for clinical application? Why
Established
not?
app designers, yeah. So the established app designers are there. I have interacted with them, but I don't know. Unfortunately, I don't know their name because it was this kind of an established app designers were engaged by my product management team. There are people who are specialists in designing UI UX. They do a dipstick study and they do test marketing once your UI UX is done, and they come back and then say, at this particular phase of the app, people are exiting, and this is what it is. So they do a dipstick and they come back, and that can be used back by the product managers to tweak the app screen or use the user journey. So there are people, and I have interacted with them, but unfortunately, I don't know their names per se. Probably you can look up on the internet to find out them. But if at all, I mean, I don't want to answer this question. I don't want to leave this question, but while you are trying to establish those, I mean, while you are trying to identify those people, be sure that they have hands-on experience in testing the apps on various parameters, specifically UI UX, and what are the test marketing that they can do, and what are the validation that they can come up with. Because there are enough people who will come back and say, okay, change this app screen, it is not looking good. That is not what you want. You really want to know at this particular screen, what is the number of people who did exit, and is there any qualitative insight behind it. That is what you need to be very clearly asking them.
Thanks, Vivek. So we have another viewer, Himanshu. He is asking how to filter out relevant and non-relevant audience. Sometimes non-relevant audience badmouths your product.
Okay, Himanshu, see, this is a necessary evil. Okay, you can't live without this, and you can't really negate these kind of people. There will be relevant and non-relevant audience, because when you do how much ever you try to do a precise targeting on your digital and social channels, there will be some rub-off in terms of getting the non-relevant users, and they might come back, and if they they might go back to the app store and write something very pathetic. They say this app sucks or this app really hangs, but he will not know whether he was in a low network bandwidth. He'll not even know whether he was in a 2G network to and get an app get going. Or he might be a guy who's having a lot of free time and he doesn't know how to use this app, or he doesn't want to use this app. So that more thing, you can't live without that. The way that I can answer this question is in terms of, if you have defined your target audience well, if you have identified the right campaign elements, if you have identified the right campaign media channels to acquire them, if you've done the right launch, you will get the right users. Of course, there are going to be non-relevant users. That's the reason you see, when you saw the couple of slides, even on day 7, not more than 14% of the users are there with your app. 100 users came. On day 7, there are 86 people who already left. So they might be relevant or non-relevant users, both put together. So there is no magic wand to say that, okay, I will not allow these users to come within an app, because it is not a B2B campaign where I know, okay, whether I'll engage with the sales guy and then the sales guy will engage with a B2B client and get going. It is end of the day a B2C app, and the app is free to download from the app store, and that you really can't stop. You should definitely invest time in defining your audience, identifying the right channel, doing a good launch, having very engaging content. You need to have a very engaging content so that the right users will get hooked on to your app, and the irrelevant users will anyway eventually get dropped off. So that is what you need to keep in mind.
Thanks, Vivek. It was a very good answer for the question. Another question that we have is from Hitesh. He's asking, what are the factors to keep in mind for app downloading budget?
Okay, app downloading budget, I think I have covered in a couple of slides. So you need to keep in mind, Hitesh, in terms of what is your benchmark CPI. For example, if you're an app marketer, if you have a benchmark CPI of say 20 rupees per app download, you need to have you need to construct the campaign with 20 or 25 rupees max to begin with. So that is one factor that you need to keep in mind while you're budgeting it. At the same time, what is the number of users that you plan to acquire? Which is the country that you want to acquire? For example, if you do a campaign simultaneously in India, Singapore, US, and other markets, their cost per download for an iOS user is always high. The cost per download for Android users is always low. So that will create an impact on your budget. You need to be very sure of whether you want to get 15 iOS users and 85 Android users, or you want to have 50-50 each. In that case, your budget for iOS is low. So that is one important factor you need to keep in
Yep. Thanks. Thank you, Vivek. I know we are running short of time right now, but there are two more questions that we will have to take it up. One short question is from Saeed. He is asking best store analytical tool which he can use to
mind. Yes.
optimize.
So App Store analytical tools, one thing that at least I have used and I see a huge value here is CleverTap. CleverTap gives you good analysis and analytics, and even Google Firebase. So that these are the two tools that you can use to get good analytical data.
Okay, cool. The last question that we have is from Ankit. How can I do SEO of my app to rank in Google Play Store?
Oh, what was the name of the person who asked this question?
Ankit Kaushik.
Ankit, yeah, Ankit, this is a very important question, but I think, I don't know whether you heard me. Optimization on the App Store is at least 120-minute discussion that we need to have. It is a dedicated topic, like you study an SEO topic in your digital marketing course. So App Store optimization is a dedicated topic. There are multiple elements that you need to optimize, you need to prepare for to get the right SEO optimization, to get the right ASO optimization done. So you can, as I said, I really can't capture that. Even if I spend 5 minutes, it would be unfair for me to answer this question because you will not get a hang of what I said. So I think we need to have one more session only for ASO, or you can look for App Store optimization parameters, and you'll get some information there. I hate to say this, but I don't want to run away from the question, but it is practically impossible to cover this question today because it's a huge topic on its own. I need at least 2 hours to capture that particular topic.
Got it. Got it. Cool. So yes, that was the end of the question set that we have. Thank you, Vivek. It was a very nice session with you. A lot of interesting data points, lot of structured approach to come to an app marketing business or strategy that you have explained to us. And thank you so much for giving your precious time for the webinar.